good evening and welcome to yet another occasion for Jindal Center for Israel Studies to celebrate indeed a bittersweet evening today, I have to confess. But before I say much about it, let me just say that the Center for Israel Studies since 2012 has organized Israel Studies for students in India, which means not only Indian students took Israel Studies courses or partook in Israel Studies events, but we've had students from Afghanistan, Mozambique, Kenya, South Africa, and the United States who were actively participated in various research colloquiums, workshops, seminars that we've organized over the years. Certainly a bittersweet evening because it's an end of a very important term of Ambassador Daniel Carmon and Minister Ditza Froim, who have relentlessly supported academic programs in India, particularly lent a very important hand to Jindal Center for Israel Studies, also collaborated with conferences, co-organized and associated with various visiting scholars programs to Jindal Center for Israel Studies and the Jindal School of International Affairs. And we've also had various informal, informal but very important discussions over dinners and many occasions. So not only is it a goodbye to an important person from the nation state of India, but also a very dear, very dear friends. And I would also want to say that they have collaborated very importantly to another sector of India. I follow them in the Twitterati, so I will here vouch that in agriculture and education, they have really, it's been an amazing journey. And I'm sure our paths will cross. I am in Israel Studies and doing things Jewish for the next 2 decades of my life, at least I know that. So I'm sure our paths will cross. So may I invite onto the podium our Vice Chancellor, Professor C. Raj Kumar, to share a word of thanks, but also share some things related to what our journey has been like.
Thank you, Rohi. Well, first of all, I would like to say that it is indeed a very little bit of a sad moment for us in India, and particularly for us in OP Jindal Global University to see both Ambassador Carmon as well as Minister Ditza leaving India. The reason I mention this is that as a university, as a School of International Affairs, we engage quite deeply and significantly with many embassies in the city, many ambassadors, as well as many people from the diplomatic community. And I can say that this couple here, including both the ambassador and the minister, are very special. And I say this with a full sense of responsibility that rarely we see people who are deeply engaged in government, who are primarily representing governments in different countries. Most of them work towards building relationship between the governments. And at best, if they want to do more than that, they are focusing on promoting trade and investment and building partnerships, as well as promoting the corporations and companies and business enterprises of their respective countries in where they are being posted. But this couple, both Ambassador and Minister Ditza, have been quite exceptional and in many ways rare individuals who went beyond the mandate of what their job is, but more importantly, what people who belong to their tribe generally do. From the very beginning, they have established very close ties with academic institutions, and we have been a significant beneficiary of their friendship as well as their strong support to our institution building efforts both in India and beyond. I am particularly grateful to both of them for recognizing the need for building substantive academic and institutional relationships between India and Israel. And we had the privilege to be able to host, of course, the President of Israel in India, during which we saw the signing of a memorandum of understanding with both Jindal and universities in Israel. We also have seen a number of partnerships under the aegis of the Jindal Center for Israel Studies. I want to recognize the outstanding contribution of two of my colleagues, one of whom is present here, Dr. Rohi Dasgupta, and one who's not present here, Dr. Kinraj, both of whom have so steadfastly established and also built the center from its early origins. I'm also grateful to the Dean of the School of International Affairs, Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, for his support to this initiative. The Jindal Center for Israel Studies grew up in a very modest manner, and today to be able to have this particular function in the presence of 33 students from Shalom College in Israel amidst us, and along with their faculty members, is a demonstration of the journey that we have traveled from the early origins of the center. The center today has had the opportunity to have, believe it or not, more than 30 students from Jindal visiting Israel on various programs, including short-term study abroad programs, exchange programs, as well as even dual degree programs where our students have received or in the process of receiving a double master's degree from Israeli universities. We have also, in the last, since the founding of the center, the last few years, organized over 40 seminars, lectures, conferences, workshops. Nearly 4 of them are joint conferences with the leading Israeli universities. We have hosted over 25 outstanding scholars, professors, and others from Israeli universities at Jindal, and maybe around 5 to 6 of us have had the opportunity to visit several of Israeli universities. In a way, the relationship has grown quite significantly, and I would like to say that both the ambassador and the minister recognize the importance of the relationship between academic institutions. The civil society consciousness that we can infuse by young people interacting and engaging with both our countries is quite important. In fact, a few days ago, when I had the privilege to meet the student from Shalom College, I could only see that this generation of young people are indeed quite fortunate that they have the ability to keep historical context a bit aside and to be able to look at the future in ways that previous generations didn't look at it, and probably didn't have the courage of conviction to be able to move beyond the burden of history. I say this because of the fact that India is a young country, and I want the young Israeli students who are here to grapple with that. 850 million people in this country are less than 35 years of age. India's life expectancy has increased to nearly 75 years, when good part of the Western world, including United States and Europe, becomes older. When most parts of the Eastern world, including China and Japan, becomes older, India will remain younger and will be younger for a longer time. And I would like to believe that young Indians who are going to shape not only the future of India, but also the future of the world, are people who are in Sonipat as we speak, amidst you, but also an opportunity for you to engage with a very old civilization. The complexity of the country is out there for you to see. One of our very dear friends and a supporter of our university, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, mentioned once that you can make a statement about India, and most likely the exact opposite could also be true. And that is the complexity of this nation. And so, in a way, I want to pay a debt of both intellectual as well as other forms of gratitude to the ambassador and the minister here for their encouragement, their support, their inspiration to the relationship between Israel and India, but more importantly, academic institutions in both our countries. I know for sure that both of them will remain engaged with India as they move to Israel in some form or the other, and I am sure the relationship that we've already established will grow from strength to strength. I also want to take a moment to recognize the fact that the students from Shalom College are all here. We want to welcome them to India and to Jindal once again, and I am particularly delighted that they are present here to mark this special occasion when we pay tribute and express our sincere gratitude for the contribution of both the ambassador and minister in India. In fact, the relationship that we have with Shalom College also made a significant impact on our ability to look at widening the partnership. I am very grateful to the faculty members of Shalom College who are present here, one of whom was our faculty member here, and I would like to express our deepest appreciation for all of them who are here, because the relationship that we have got here with all of you present in India, and to be able to travel across and also meet people in India, provides opportunities for our students to make that effort to go to Israel in the months and years to come. I also want to recognize the presence of our deans of our different schools. I am grateful to Dean Sudarshan, Dean of the Jindal School of Government and Public Policy, Professor Kathleen Modrowski, Dean of the Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, Professor Tom Goldstein, the Dean of the Jindal School of Journalism and Communication, also the Dean of the Jindal School of Art and Architecture, Thomas Michael, and other faculty members who are present here. In a way, this is an opportunity for us to collectively and consciously pay a tribute to an outstanding individual and the minister who is present here, both of whom have been conscious of the importance of this relationship that goes beyond the usual relationship that governments have. I'm also particularly grateful to Dr. Sreeram Chaulia for his leadership as the Dean of the Jindal School of International Affairs, and all his colleagues, including Vice Dean Professor Mohan Kumar and other colleagues who are present here, to provide a sense of intellectual consciousness of the importance of this relationship, but also to work towards building substantive programs with Israel. I recognize the presence of Professor Kalyani Unkule, who is the director of the International Office, all of whom have contributed and, as we speak, are contributing to the building of this relationship. As many of us in the academic world know, building relationships such as the ones that we are trying here are very difficult. Universities, like at times countries, are quick at signing memorandum of understanding. But to be able to work towards implementing those memorandum of understandings in impacting the life of students and faculty in both our countries is the most difficult thing, and we are very fortunate that we have been able to do it. And it has been possible because of the extraordinary support that we have received from the two of them. I would like to wish them the very best. I also want to say that I bring the greetings of our founding benefactor and chancellor, Mr. Naveen Jindal, and his wife, Mrs. Shalu Jindal, both of whom have sent their warm greetings. They, of course, are very close to both the ambassador and the minister here. They are neighbors of them, but also they hosted a dinner recently in honor of both of their presence and their contribution in India. So it's a very special relationship we have nurtured over the years, but more importantly, I see a future in what we are doing, and I want to say that as they go in this journey, we can only hope that our relationships between both our countries, but also both our educational institutions become stronger. There is so much that we in India would like to learn from the experiences of Israeli universities. So much of intellectual powerhouse that has been generated in a very short span of time, inspiring and impacting the world of ideas and knowledge creation and publications in a very significant manner. We, of course, have a larger higher education system, but at a time when India is attempting to seek fundamental reforms in our higher education system, this is a good opportunity for us to draw inspiration from the leading universities in Israel, including our current partners, the Shalom College. So I want to stop here and invite my colleague, Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, to say a few words. I know Kinraj has a message. Is that all right? Okay. Rohi will take care of the rest. Thank you very much.
Before I hand over the podium to Professor Sreeram Chaulia, I would like to acknowledge the presence of a few more important people in this gathering. Of course, very important to the center, to the intellectual life of the center, who's contributed tremendously is Arjun Hardas, AJC rep of the Asia Pacific Institute. Thanks to the American Jewish Committee, we've had visiting scholars in our center for a year. So thank you, Arjun, for your friendship and indeed for your generous liaisons. Dean of the Foreign Service Institute is here as well. I also wish to acknowledge the presence of Ambassador Arun Singh, India's ambassador to Israel, and as well as to the US and various other countries, but his key role, yes, Ambassador Arun Singh. And also Dr. Mehna Chawla Singh, a sociologist who's written a wonderful book on being Indian, being Israeli, and continues to work in that area of the sociology of Indian Jewish identity. Riuma Mansour, Cultural Attaché, Embassy of Israel in India. Welcome, and we look forward to working with you. May I now call upon another person, Dr. Julian Francis, legal advisor to the university. You are a very important person. let's call upon Professor Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, Dean Jindal School of International Affairs.
Thank you, Rohi. Good evening, everyone. It's a real honor for us to send off Ambassador Carmon and Minister Froim after very distinguished service in New Delhi. I think it's fair to say that they have taken the mandate of enhancing bilateral relations to an unseen higher level in the last few years while they've been posted here. And I have actually observed them as a student of foreign affairs, the way they have conducted diplomacy, the way they have reached out, as Vice Chancellor mentioned, to the general public, to academics, as well as to other non-state sectors in the country. And of course, the main work which continues to be to smoothen the relationship at the governmental level, at the intergovernmental level. So in all aspects, I mean, if there were a kind of a rating, we have, I mean, with due respect, we have worked with several Israeli ambassadors to India before Ambassador Carmon. But I think we have reached a certain level and it's become irreversible. And it has gone parallel to the bilateral relationship which itself has soared like anything under Prime Minister Modi. So in a way, these are, I think he was the right person at the right time, and so was she. And we have seen how Ditza, for example, has encouraged so many student groups to visit Israel for learning from India and vice versa. They have really not just acted, in their formal capacity, but enabled lots of Indians to find out more and to really see the grassroots realities in Israel. So I think the public diplomacy and the what you call the government to people outreach, I think has been extraordinary. The cultural attaché has been very strong over the years, and I find there are some of you will agree with me, there are some relatively small countries with diplomatic missions in Delhi with disproportionate level of activity and visibility. Because they're so energetic, because they've got a vision, and because they've got good bosses who continuously allow them to conduct so many such events and activities that bring the societies of the home country and the host country together. So in all those aspects, technically speaking, they've been brilliant. So we feel really, really privileged to have our students have been addressed by ambassador, by minister councillor many times. Our students have interacted with them. Our faculty, of course, have been able to go to Israel many times. So in a way, I would really highlight them as a kind of as some kind of an example for other missions which have actually greater resources than Israel, but don't quite manage to create the same kind of social capital that they have done. So, so very well done, sir and madam. You have really shined in your professions, and of course also given all of us a kind of a vision of what many of our students aspire to be diplomats. Ambassador Mohan Kumar is training some of them to join the Indian Foreign Service. I think seeing them in action, the practitioners, has been really a privilege, and we have all realized that there's much more beyond the textbook of diplomatic practice, and they are the living embodiment. So please give them a big round of applause for the professionalism and the quality of diplomacy. Thank you.
There are two more other people I need to acknowledge, not only for reasons of friendship, but for the long journey they have witnessed as well. Hannah Ansi, former cultural attaché, Embassy of Israel in India, who has been such a supportive person. And also a good friend whom I have known thanks to my colleague Dr. Navras Afridi is Ralphie Jirhad, the Indo-Israel Chamber of Commerce, as well as a very important person of the Indian Jewish community. So he's here with his wife Yael, so very welcome. And we look forward to working with you in the future. So may I now call upon Ambassador Daniel Carmon to say a few words.
Erev Tov, good evening, and thank you to my predecessors on the dais for being so generous, too generous, in bidding farewell to Ditza and myself. As a matter of fact, this event is the last formal event that we're going to have before embarking on an Air India plane, direct flight from Delhi to Tel Aviv 2 days from now. And I think that it's no coincidence that this is, we're saying goodbye. We have a couple of arrangements to do at home and at the embassy, and we're off back home to Israel. We're going through quite mixed feelings days as we now speak, and for this reason I've prepared something in writing, and you will understand that, but I really do want to thank you for holding this event and being so generous with us, Minister for Public Diplomacy, Ditza Froim, and myself. Thank you very much. Dear Vice Chancellor and friend, Professor Raj Kumar, Dr. Roy Dasgupta, from the Jindal head and founder of the Jindal Center for Israeli Studies, Dr. Chaulia of the School of International Affairs, dignitaries, friends of Israel, friends of India and Israel. It is beyond words to express the mixed feelings that I have these days as I prepare to leave the place that I have called home for the past 4 years, to end my tenure as ambassador to India, and to end also a career that was a rewarding one, as rewarding and as challenging as one can only hope for. Tonight's get-together gives me and Ditza the opportunity to say thank you to Jindal, to the Jindal team with whom we were happy to work and collaborate towards helping our respective people, Israelis and Indians alike, to get to know each other better through academic partnerships. I'm also very glad to see amongst the crowd here, this wonderful crowd, so many good friends of India and Israel, as well as a group of Israeli students which not only came to visit, study, and interact with India, but actually are part of our ongoing trend, as was described before, an ongoing trend in international relations, in international diplomacy, which is the people-to-people, academia-to-academia, or government-to-academia relationship. It is no secret that foreign relations, once handled by few, mostly behind closed doors, is now very much in the hands of the people and open to all to see and to be part of. People have to sense that these relations are relevant to their daily lives, to their welfare and their safety. And like in any other type of human interaction, the more we know about each other, the better we can work towards and together to our mutual benefit. The academia is a natural and important platform for such engagements and mutual introduction. I thus want to applaud once again Professor Raj Kumar and Dr. Roy Dasgupta for setting up the first academic center in India for Israel studies. This center allows Jindal students better and hopefully more varied exposure to Israel from various angles. It also facilitates, going beyond academic research, direct interactions between Indian and Israeli students and faculty. A best example is, as I said before, the Israeli students here tonight as part of the exchange program. I have to add that in the framework of Israel-India relations, academic collaborations carry another significant role as part of our joint agenda in innovation. It is a well-known fact that Israel's economy is very strongly based on its innovation and startup ecosystem. As many of you may already know, this startup ecosystem is built upon three main pillars: government, industry, and academia. Not only are they centers of learning and research, but almost each Israeli university has a technology transfer company meant to translate the academic knowledge acquired within its walls to applicable technology in the real world. When combined with the governmental support of the Israel Innovation Authority, these universities are branching out, developing our economy, and looking for international partnership such as this to enhance academic advancement of industry and economy. As precursors to industry, it is only right that academic cooperation also takes place in the merging of our ecosystems. As we engage during the last days, those very days, in summing up our tenure, I cannot but acknowledge new elements added to the traditional forms of diplomacy, as mentioned before. And I would name only few of those: developmental diplomacy, economic diplomacy, defense, environmental, innovation, water diplomacy, and yes, definitely academic diplomacy, very relevant to both our countries. And you, dear friends, are the ambassadors in this diplomacy. Ditza and I have completed our tenure in India, but the dialogues, the partnerships, and joint processes that have bloomed will continue to strive and expand and to take the friendship between countries to new heights. And I can tell you on a personal level that I will be committed while retiring from the Foreign Service in a month's time to continuing this relationship, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador, for those reflections. There are a number of people who are present in the audience, but I just want to quickly mention two of my very dear friends, Mr. Tanveer Ahmed Mir, who is a distinguished lawyer, Mr. Ranjit Sinha, the chief legal correspondent of PTI. Both of them have taken time to be here. I also want to recognize the presence of Mr. Mohan Parasaran, former Solicitor General of India, also Rakhi Gupta, the Resident Commissioner of the Government of Punjab, a very distinguished IAS officer. So thank you to all of you for actually being present here. Is Kinraj's message going to be right? Yeah.
Okay. Aye. So I just want to say that it has been a privilege and honor to know both of you, but especially my collaborations and conversations with Ditza has been very meaningful. She's not only an important diplomat from Israel, but she's a wonderful person, an insightful person whose timely collaborations and wise words has really helped the center and personally me too, including my ulpan at Haifa University. Toda raba. Medaberet kitsat ivrit. But not more than that. I have to work on it. But thank you so much for that. May I call upon Minister Ditza Froim to say a few words?
Okay, you made me stand with a failure. I sent you to an ulpan and you say that you're not speaking fluent Hebrew. We'll have to do round two. You'll come for a visit. So I really will try to be very brief, because I think Ambassador said it all, and you've been all saying such warm words that I don't want to spoil the moment. I just will add maybe one thing, because you mentioned that the interaction that we had was exceptional in the field of diplomacy. I beg to differ. I think the diplomacy has changed, as Ambassador said. It is no longer an interaction between government. Whenever it is an interaction between government, it gives only a partial result. if we want to build relations that are sustainable, we have to talk and we have to engage and we have to interact with everyone that is making the counterpart. And the Indian counterpart or any other country is not just the government, but it is the people, it is the private sector, it is the academic sector, the NGOs that are working in the field of development in the communities. And I think that our role as the diplomats today, the role of diplomacy today, is to find new way of engagements and new partners. And I think that we were very fortunate to find good partners in Jindal, with you, Professor Raj Kumar, with you, Rohi, with you, Professor Chaulia. We found here partners that are eager to take and to embrace this new diplomacy. And the fact that we have the delegation of students from Israel here is a good example. The visit of your student to Israel is another example. And I think that as time will pass, we will see more of these examples and more of these joint ventures. And at the end of the day, we're going to have two people that may not always agree with one another, but they will definitely be more sensitive and more attuned to one another. So thank you again for this warm hospitality, not just today, but through the past 4 years. And I'm looking forward to continue this friendship from wherever we are. Thank you.
Can I call upon my colleague, Dr. Ashish Bharadwaj? He has a message from Dr. Kivra Jangid, my partner in crime, my partner in academic crime. We have been quite the harbingers in sort of dealing with all questions, as you can well imagine, to keep our interests going. But also to say he has been a long time student of Israel studies, and he's written his doctoral research has been on Israel studies from another very eminent scholar of Israel studies in India, Professor Kumar Swami, and he's right now doing, Kivra Jangid is right now doing a postdoctoral at Tel Aviv University as we speak. So may I call upon Dr. Ashish Bharadwaj to come and deliver his message.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be really quick. It's a short email that he has sent to me. Dear Shalom, dear Ambassador Daniel Carmon and Minister Ditza Froim, I thank both of you for your friendship and constant support to the Jindal Center for Israel Studies at OP Jindal Global University. It is an extraordinary moment that we are here for bidding farewell to both of you in the company of 30+ students and distinguished faculty from Shalem College in Jerusalem. In Israel, where I am right now, we have several students from Jindal University for a month-long summer program at Bar Ilan University in Ramat Gan. This bilateral mobility of students between India and Israel is taking place certainly as a result of the interest you've shown in facilitating academic collaborations. I have a vivid recollection of our first meeting on 4th November 2015 when the ambassador accepted my humble request for a conversation with Jindal students on our campus. For a 90-minute talk, you undertook a road journey of more than 2.5 hours, and it was very kind of you and very gracious of you. Thank you very much for that. Diplomats often have their jobs defined in the small world of political alliances, trade, and commerce. The predictable to-do list is usually drawn from the booklet of nation-states, their national interests, and high politics. However, both of you have established exception as members of the Embassy of Israel in India by promoting educational and academic exchanges at par with other high political agenda. You have also accomplished major milestones in the India-Israel political relations while you led the mission in Delhi. Congratulations on this remarkable duration. Thank you very much, and I wish you and your family good times ahead. To the amazing group of students and friends from Shalem College, I, Kivraj, take this opportunity to extend my warm welcome. I'm told you are all very happy there. You are the very first ambassadors of academic collaboration between Jindal University and Shalem College. I very much wish you excellent learning experience at Jindal. I thank Vice Chancellor Professor Raj Kumar, Dean Chaulia, and my colleague Rohi, who have extended their best support and encouragement. Under your leadership and guidance, Jindal Center for Israel Studies, the first of its kind in South Asia, has finally emerged. Thank you very much. Kivraj.
Thank you. Can I invite Dr. C. Raj Kumar to now felicitate Ambassador Daniel Carmon and Ditza Froim and formally thank them for their commendable association. Thank you so much. Toda rabah. Thank you.